Welcome back, guys. Aaron Connick here again, here with Zach Cavus, my man, doing great. Great last game. Fun to watch you on stream. Congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
Having a great day. So talk to me about this NEH deck. I mean, everybody told us leading up to this, NEH is dead, unplayable, clot, breaks fast, advance. What are your thoughts on that? What kind of convinced you, hey, NEH still works? What convinced you to bring it here today?
I think it's twofold. One, I am very bad at most every deck, other than NEH and Andy. So I pretty much have to stick with them by virtue of just being unskilled elsewhere.
Okay.
But
I appreciate your honesty.
Secondly is I don't get to test Netrunner. My primary testing involves watching most of the YouTube videos of Kiv, Chris McLeod, I think his last name is, on YouTube, and just watching how he plays various decks and who he plays against, like as far as deck types. And so I just watch those videos a lot.
Excellent.
And watch other sources and just read a bunch on StimHack, which is a great resource. Yeah. So I really, this is the first tournament I have gotten to play in since Clot came out, and the first matches I've gotten to play against Clot. So
have you seen it today?
I did see it. I saw it the first round of top 8, wherein it was against Haley, Stealth Haley with Magnum Opus, and I was able to get around it. It looked like he was stalling on SMC and just building up all this stealth hardware. So I figured it was for Clot, hoping it wasn't, but figured it was for Clot. And so I was able to lay down a Cyberdex behind a Crick and set up 2 pop-up windows on HQ so that when I installed Astro on a Sand server, I was able to advance, get him to go for Clot, advance again, res Sand, res Cyberdex, purge with Cyberdex, score Astro, and hope he runs HQ the next turn. So
very nice sequence there.
He ran HQ, thankfully, and I gained 2 credits off the 2 pop-ups, and I was able to recover from there. But, yeah, so that was the first time I saw Clot today, though.
Okay.
And I'd met Chris in the Swiss, and he had told me then that he wasn't running Clot after the match.
Interesting.
After I was able to defeat him there.
Let me ask you about one of the card choices. We talked about it. So I know last night we met up at the game store ahead of time, and one of the late includes was adjusting some things around to fit the closed accounts in.
Yeah, last night I wasn't running closed accounts. I cut the 1 marked accounts I had been running for closed accounts, and I gave a copy of my deck to Pacer, and he ran a 3rd shipment from Sand in that spot. And then he kept with 2 Enigmas, whereas I run 1 Enigma, 1 Gutenberg to help enable that Clot, or the closed accounts. But most of the time, I think I was figuring I would probably just do it off of a breaking news.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I also watched the Swiss game. I was mentioning this on stream. In both Swiss games, you never played out the breaking news naked into the server. You always kind of slowly, steadily built up enough money to res the Sand, play the breaking news off of that, and then closed accounts. And I felt like even in both games, Chris was a little caught off guard. I think was probably waiting to say maybe you were going for a fast advance, but you were really just going for the tempo hit to land the closed accounts.
I was fortunate enough to catch him in a bad spot in the Swiss. He had been struggling a little bit with economy leading up to that point, and he finally drew an Armitage and then played it and then clicked 3 times for 6, and the next turn clicked the rest of it and did something. I forget what the other click was, and then so I was able to I saw the Armitage install, and I was like, I've been setting up this closed accounts for a little bit, so I was like, okay, well I'll just save it. And then thankfully, he was forced, I guess, his draw and his hand forced him to just try and build up money to try for some medium dig, which he had medium installed, and I was able to close accounts and set him back probably at least 2 turns.
Oh yeah, it was very significant.
So it was a very fortunate spot for me. I was able to capitalize on that, but quite lucky that I was able to get
one
those
of your other
cards
I want to get your take on, Crick. I know we were talking on stream a little bit. I mean, obviously, a lot of targets in your deck, but, hefty on the influence side. Talk to me about both what you cut and then what made you decide to make room for it in your deck.
Well, I thought that Biotic Labor has been weakened, but maybe it's not. I don't know. The lack of Clot that I've been generally seeing indicates that maybe a second Biotic Labor is pretty good still. But anyways, I cut the Biotic Labor, fit in the Crick and a I don't know, Lotus Field maybe.
I think that's because you've got 1 in your deck, I believe.
So 1 on the floor. Probably that was what I cut it for. So it's 3 Lies, 3 Architects, Crick, Lotus Field Biotic.
Okay.
It's my influence spread right now. So I just went with that. Crick has a lot of uses, and it's a pretty good tax against, like, Yogg isn't super popular. I guess it's pretty good at max. I've seen a lot of max lists. That seems to be a really good breaker. And I mean, I guess you could put over Archives. I've never put it over Archives. Doesn't seem the best in my deck over Archives. Like, protecting Archives is pretty tertiary in NEH. I just don't have the ice to spread that far. But just having on a central, just making them get another breaker, and just there's like a surprise, like kind of like Architect. It's like it's like you just fire it once, and that's usually good enough for 1 credit.
And one of the things that I've been seeing, I mean, part of the reason Architect is so good is it fires once you get the install, you get the free card draw on your turn, and you know, Crick can have the same effect of just drawing you cards on your opponent's turn, and that could be very relevant.
If Crick fires, like, it's guaranteed to give you the draw by virtue of it. The runner having to run into it. So its subroutine in NEH at least is install a card, draw a card. So that's good synergy right there, and I like that. And it's only 1 credit, so that's really good for my deck. I try to build decks to operate on as few credits as possible but are able to capitalize on as many credits. I'm sure that's basically deck building.
Sure, but that's a great point. Good fundamentals.
It's good to stick to that. Yeah.
Now let me ask you this. I mean, you got a couple more matches ahead of you. Clearly, I mean, we're going to figure out whether you're going to be running or corping. You've obviously had success on both sides, so I don't know that I could easily pinpoint you to say one side's been doing better.
I've been super fortunate today to run into some good draws, and my opponents having some lackluster draws, and just coming out on the better end of it on the draw steps, and just sequencing. Mostly optimally, and having just work out. So good access.
Any opponents that you're trying to any deck types or any opponents that you're trying to maybe avoid or give you a matchup problem in these later rounds?
Well, I hate playing at Scorch decks.
Okay.
I don't really think they're that great, generally speaking, because there's a lot of slots you have to dedicate to it. But the what you get from it as far as a top end, I think is, it's really strong. And so any NBN Scorch deck, I think, is really what I want to avoid. Wayland is a different animal, so I feel more confident in that matchup. But, my criminal deck, I usually shirk on meat damage protection. I'm not running any plastic reach or anything today. I usually just try to outmoney the corp. But it's difficult. The problem with NEH is they put on that fast advance pressure, and it's difficult to gain a bunch of money to protect against Scorched Earth and still threaten the servers.
Well, it'll be really exciting seeing you in these last couple rounds. It's been a pleasure watching you on camera. So, Zach, thanks so much for coming down. Thanks for talking to us. I have no doubt, based on the success you've had, that we may very well see you back here for an interview in the not-too-distant future.
Hopefully.
Best of luck in the next rounds. Thanks for coming to interview with us.
Thank you.
Well, guys, thank you. I hope you enjoyed that interview. We're going to get set up for the next round, and we'll be back with you shortly. Stick with us. Thanks for watching PeachHack, and we'll be back in a minute.